Hey guys, it's Matt. Thanks to Igor for sending me an email on this, saying I might want to look into it. And at first, but guys, this is absolutely fascinating. All right, it's going to take a few minutes to really understand what's going on here. I'm re-recording this because I was so all over the place, and it's going to take my best effort to explain this. But once you get it, then you'll say okay, and then we can move on. But Igor sent this to my attention. In other words, give it 5 minutes before you have a full understanding of what's going on here. And he said you might want to look into this person auctioning off his art at Christie's or Sotheby's for millions of dollars. It's crypto art. And at first I was like, it doesn't look that interesting, but it's extremely interesting the more and more I looked into it for many different reasons. And thanks to Igor for even, I didn't know anything about this. Mostly it's interesting to me because it's an absolute system setup. There's nothing natural or organic about what's happening here and the millions of dollars this guy's making. It's a system setup, whether this guy that does this is in on it or not. So let me start with the absolute basics so you understand what's going on here. There's a guy named Mike, I don't know what it is, like Winkleberry, or it's like the Winklevoss twins from the Social Network, the Winklevi from Zuck the Borg. We'll call him Mike Winkle Dingleberry, let's call him. He makes these arts called Everydays. Every day, for years or something, he sits down and makes a crypto art. Okay, it's crypto art, all digital. I'll explain why it's crypto related to Bitcoin in a moment. So this is an example of something he does these thing called Everydays. This one's called the brilliant work from, his name is Mike Winkle Dingleberry, goes by the name of Beeple. Not people, Beeple. Okay. This one's called I Miss People. And it's some, I guess when it's blown up and it's printed out on more than my old inkjet, it looks a lot better with vivid colors and graphics and, it's artsy fartsy. But the interesting thing is people are paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars for these, and they're not getting anything. I'll show you that in a second. And it's all a system set up to move the human being down towards the digital. It's all it is. It's incredible once you see what's going on here. And of course, what my interpretation or conclusion is going to be of what's going on here will be deemed by anybody listening to this that's not in our circles as absolutely insane. But you'll see it. They won't. But who cares about them? So, okay. This guy, here's an example. Let me just show you a picture of a Winkle whatever. And is it the system winking at us? Yeah, it's the system winking, going, look at this bullshit, in my opinion. This guy, he might not, that's the incredible evil genius of this system. This guy in no way might have any understanding of how the system itself is using him. It is absolute evil genius. All right, here's another example of his stuff. So this one's called Into the Ether. And again, he can do one of these every day on his computer somehow. It just reeks of a system setup. Okay, well, look at this one over here. I'm not even going to click on this one. He can use the Disney character, but if Matt even clicked on the thumbnail, he'll probably get a ban. How would he be able to even use the image of Mickey? See, it's whatever. Okay, so what is really going on here? So for years, this guy banged these things out, these crypto, and anybody could go get it for free and put it on your desktop or even print it out, put it on your wall. Just grab them for free for years and years and years. So this guy somewhat recently, decides to hold an auction. Okay, and so auction, well, he's been offering it for free. Anybody can go print out a high-res viz, put on their wall. How's he going to make any money? How's he going to make his $3.5 million or $6 million or whatever? Let's just go over to that tab, guys, because look at the stories. How a 10-second video clip sold for $6.6 million. All these little, if you can't see it, these are all his everydays. Like he's done so many of these in a collage. It just looks like, it looks like he's done 1,000 of these. Art lover buys digital work. Look at all the 6.6s, 6.6 million. I mean, there's more than, I know these are different news. I'm just saying, look at all the 6.6s. It's the same story. I'm aware of this. But if you look into these stories and actually open these things, the the numerology, for those that are into that, does start to pop out at you. So let's go back to this, guys. And is this a good example? Okay, yeah, okay. So what's going on here? Does all this stuff for free, produces a different image, beautiful stuff like this. Produces a different image every day. Beeple every day, and people for years would go out and say, well, what did Beeple do today? It's all free. Then decides to make some money. So it goes to, I don't know, Sotheby's or Christie's. Of course, the top auction houses would be very interested, and he's going to auction off his work. All right. Now, what's this open edition white label? This $969. Let me go down, and this is a better image of the package you get when you bid. And some people have bid as high as $700,000. Right? Now, people saying they're listening, it's going, what's the point? It's fine. Some artwork, Matt, is worth $100 million. Okay, here's the difference. You're not getting anything. You're not buying anything. It's his crypto art. So he's going to offer this package up at Sotheby's. Now, what are you getting? You're getting a little printout of the artwork. Okay, this isn't what you're buying. What you're buying is a digital tag or something associated with Bitcoin or something associated with the blockchain, saying that Beeple here is putting out whatever it may be, 100 originals. See, this is what's fascinating and absolutely absurd as to where our society's going. He's putting out 100 originals. And now you're not buying this little printout. You're buying the digital high-res image that comes with this little package, which includes a hair sample from Mike Winkle Dinkleberry or whatever, and it includes this little gold coin saying you overspent by $400,000, and it includes a certificate of authentication, if I'm saying that correctly. So I'm going to do this. Somebody goes into Christie's and bids. Most people are whatever not everything's selling for $400,000 or $500,000. I think one guy bought one thing for $700,000. Most things sold for $5,000 or $10,000. Overall, he made over $3 million doing this overall. So let's just say somebody goes into Sotheby's, and let's say, and versus me, all right? He bids against other bidders, and he bids, or I don't know exactly how they did the bidding. It might not be a traditional, James Bond in the auction house bidding for the Fabergé egg. It might be, he'll put out so many digital versions of his work. So somebody goes in and for $25,000 gets an original. Now they get this little package with Mike's hair sample and a little coin which says it's authentic, and they get the high-res image, including a printed out sample behind glass. But I can go out to the web and get the exact same thing. I can and pay nothing. I can go out to the web and get the exact same thing and pay nothing. Okay? But see, they have a digital authenticator. That's all they have. The guy that bid $100,000 versus Matt just sitting around pulling the artwork off his, if I had a phone in my bathtub, pulling it off. We have the exact same thing in terms of what we can do. We can put it on our desktop. We can put it on the wall. But the guy that bid $100,000, that genius, he has an authenticator that says he has an original because it's tagged or associated with the blockchain. It's crypto art, where there's only so many originals put out there's only so many Bitcoins. But what is he really getting? He's just getting a digital something that says he owns an original, but he owns nothing more than what I could or you could or anybody could just get for free. I mean, at least it's absurd. It's absurd. And I'll explain the system's motivations behind all this. We'll get to part 2 because I hope I'm explaining this correctly. It is absolutely absurd. At least if I buy, if I'm that guy from Ocean's 12, what is his name? One of his aliases I can remember is Moretti, but I can't remember the Night Fox or whatever. If he buys a Van Gogh and one of his 2,000 fake works, no, something really fake about Van Gogh. Nobody puts out 2,000 paintings in 2.5 or 3 or 4 years, and then they just sit in the basement. Nobody wants them. Then they're worth millions. There's a Van Gogh story to me is it just doesn't hold water. Where a Da Vinci story holds much more water, but there's still issues even with that. But let's just say a Van Gogh. The Night Fox from Ocean's 12 buys a Van Gogh, not Starry Night or one of these ones that are, or the self-portrait, one that's relatively unknown, and he spends $900,000. All right. Well, he goes to Sotheby's, then hands him the original. See, that's what he paid $900,000 for. He can touch the canvas. He can say Van Gogh actually painted this. Well, he didn't, but let's keep the conspiracy to a minimum. He can touch it. He can say, "Oh, look at this. Look how thick the paints were. Look how, he can show his friends. He can hold something." These people that paid 20,000, 100, some people paid just 1,000 for some of. See, Beeple has so many of these that I guess some people, got some of his lesser works for just a few $100s. But I think one guy, was it 70,000 or 700,000? I think it was 700,000 for one. And I'll talk about the article that talked about what happened with that part of the auction in a moment. But let's just say somebody gets one of Beeple's Everydays for $10,000. What they're getting, and I'll just do this one more time because I won't be able to stop laughing. What they're getting is nothing. They're getting nothing. Because they're just getting a digital high-res image with an authenticator, with a blockchain authenticator. But see, everybody's so into that of course that's where the value is. Of course, it's not in what you bought. It's not in the art. It's not in its use or utility. It's in the authenticator that's associated with the blockchain. So people are saying even somebody that bid $20,000 on one of Beeple's Mike Dingleberry Voss's Winklevi twins. If you spent $20,000 on one of his things, see, you have the authenticator through and the blockchain authenticates it. I don't know how that shit works, but you understand what I'm saying. Then it's so valuable, it can be resold immediately. I mean, give me an effing break. Let's look at this one. Oh, he's got look at this, the inverted pyramid. What's that? The alchemical, is that the alchemical water? But with a bunch of ghouls coming out, with a bunch of Walking Dead coming out. Looks like a scene from I Pet Goat 2 here. Beeple Everydays. Beeple waste my time every day. So, guys, the other thing with this guy, I've seen this guy. Let's take a look at him. Seen him interviewed, and he just seems like a regular old nice guy, but he drops a ton of Fs for some reason. Drops a ton of F. He drops a ton of Fs, not in a nasty way, but guys, man, I think this whole thing is a system setup. I ain't buying it. I'm suspect to the extreme. To me, this is even if I'm not saying he's even in on it. You know how the system uses people without them even having a clue. He probably is, though. He probably is in on it in this case. If anybody's yelling at this presentation, going, Matt, at some point people are in on it. It's not everybody's not it. I agree. I don't want to go too far. I'm just saying in this community, this truth community, we think everybody's in on it, but it's far fewer than you think. That's all I'm saying. So this is Mike here, and let me go. He drops a ton of Fs in is that in somehow part of the script of what's goes? Yes, I can. I don't know why, guys. I can't explain everything, but what I'm good at, I can just sniff certain things out. Why he so related? I wouldn't even mention all the FC drops in interviews, except it's just strange when you go to Christie's Online or Sotheby's and you bid $40,000 for Beeple's offering one of his Everydays. He's offering a limited edition, 50 runs of it. Of course, it's all digital. He could produce, of course, 500,000 runs. But it's if you limit the scarcity, then it gets very valuable. And he'd do 50 runs of it, and you bid on this, and you have one of everybody that bid and got won the bid, whatever it is, all 50 of you that spent your $10,000. Then you get, of course, a blockchain authenticator showing you hold an original. Your neighbor who downloaded the same damn thing, who has a gigantic version of it on his wall, he has something more real than you because he has it on his wall, but he doesn't have the digital blockchain crypto authenticator, so he doesn't own shit. You have the real value. And again, anybody screaming at this presentation going, well, Matt, Value is only in the definition of value is only in what the next guy down the line will pay for it, what the next fool down the line will pay for it. Well, of course, and that's exactly right. And by that definition, it holds incredible value, because with all the hype that came from what this guy's done in his auctions, if you hold one of Beeple Everyday's and you have a digital piece of shit with an authenticator and you get this package after you bid your $20,000 and it comes with a hair sample. So, but then remember I was talking about all the F's in the interviews? It says right here, there's like some coin proving it, you have the real thing, and it says, I can't blow this up, guys. I don't want to, images or whatever, but it says something like, you have the fucking, I have to say it, it's right here. This is what he put on his package. It's like, you have the fucking real deal here. Or something flippant, like, cutesy, but with the F word. Like, you own the fucking real one. Like, what? What is going on here with all the F's in this guy? It's I don't know. It's just part of the script, the reality script playing out through this guy, whether he's aware of it or not. And so it's just so funny. Your neighbor spends $25,000 and this cardboard piece of shit shows up in the mail. I guess it's like the scene from Coming to America. The Brinks truck shows up, hopefully, with the official-looking guy with the gun, and Daryl sent you the $500,000 pair of earrings. So the Brinks truck shows up like the scene at Mr. McDowell's house in Coming to America, and for your $25,000, you open up the box and it's this cardboard piece of shit where you have the high res version of the image that any jack off online can just get for free, but you have a printout of it from Beeple's Mike Winklevoss's Dingleberry's inkjet. He has an old Kodak inkjet in his basement. He printed it out and shoved it between glass. You get his little coin, his little saying that it's effing real, his hair sample, and what else is in there? There's probably a stale Twinkie shoved in this box. But you spent $25,000 and you have the box. And according to the greater fool theory of what a greater fool down the line would be willing to pay, that jerk would be holding value, because there's some jerk that's probably desperate to line up to buy it. People are already probably trading it like Bitcoin. Okay, guys, what is going on here? What's the ultimate system goal here? All right. Let me Beeple Everyday's. Let's just click on this one. Beeple Everyday's. Waste my time every day. Okay. The very basic of it is the system, whatever stands behind this reality, we know is out to corrupt a human being, to remove them from spiritual self. In everything it does, through it, as it works through society and as it works through its minions. If you go into the truth community and that's all you need to know, that's all. That's the end. I mean, that's all we need to know. I mean, everything comes back to that. The entire society will work through its minions and its systems and its governments and its presentations and its beeples to remove a human being from its true nature, spiritual self, and knowing itself. That's all you need to know. Okay, so now that we know that, let's continue to have fun with analyzing the screen. So in one way it does that. It works to get a human being more and more familiar with the digital, where eventually it wants the human being to merge with the digital. So as a human being watches more digital television and smart devices, and it's to me, it's a long-term, might be century-long process or multi-century process to merge the human being in some way with the digital. You have to understand how patient this system is, this screen is, whatever stands behind it, the evil behind it. It's not out to do anything by next week or in a year or whatever. This is where, I see the patience of this system. And this is only one area where it's patient, trying to get the human being to slide down the scale more towards the digital. I'll explain how this accomplishes that in a moment. But this is why people, oh, some major catastrophe is going to happen in Seattle with the Space Needle, and they're going to these major catastrophes going to come, and it keeps coming back into the truth community. Fear channels, turn off the fear channels. Oh, there's going to be some major cataclysm, or the system and the minions are going to do this to us and that to us, and we're all going to die. We're all going to die. No, when you see how patient they are, they don't working like that. They're patient. I understand it's been artificially accelerated, like they're behind schedule, but in order to get a human being to merge with the digital, and they're using this one little example, this Beeple, but it's related to getting people to accept cryptocurrency. Okay, it absolutely relates back to what the system wants out of Bitcoin. Now, guys, I know this is like when I have talk about the Mandela effect. People will be so triggered that I'm going to badmouth Bitcoin or whatever. Guys, you can make a ton of money in Bitcoin, no doubt about it. We all need money to put food on the table, to feed our kids, etc., etc. But don't think like these holier-than-thou truthers, that was just the good guys, whoever established Bitcoin, fighting back against the system, fighting back against the bankers. You've got to be kidding me. What a joke. An absolute joke. Somebody tell a joke. Give me a break. It was put out by the system. And yeah, and it's crashed down a bunch of times, and then it's gone up through the roof. It to generate interest in people eventually using crypto. Look at crypt, the name of death is in the name itself. Crypto, a crypt. It's in the name. As you slide down the scale towards the digital and merge with the digital, it is the death of spiritual self. It's all related. I'm not saying you shouldn't trade Bitcoin. Everybody's got to put food on the table, whatever. But don't think it's good people fighting the bankers. Give me a break. It's the same people. It's so obvious. We don't need to talk about that. If you can't see that in the truth community, come on, man. So this is the same thing. It's the message to the subconscious mind, or the parts of the popcorn crunchers that read of course, this was picked up by the New York Times and all the major outlets, of course, and the frontal lobes and the thinking brain reads it and like, okay, that's interesting. This guy made all this money on this digital stuff. But the subconscious, the parts of us that's more powerful than the idiot thinking mind, it's like, this is another part of the digital that is associated with success, or getting ahead, or making money. Like, I just saw Bitcoin reach an all-time high. Now they're doing it with art associated with the blockchain. And, now everything associated with the digital, or associated with the digital authenticator, or with the blockchain, that's where all value to a human being is going to lie. It's so incremental in the steps they take. Does this get you one giant step down where you become Neo trapped in the Matrix? No, it's just one little tiny millimeter step in getting a human being to accept more parts of their lives where the digital replaces the real, or replaces the authentic. All right, and don't think they're not working overtime to try to, all those movies where there's like a sexual hologram that comes up. They already introduced it with the movie Her. The guy's basically making love and romancing and falling in love with his operating system. Joaquin Phoenix in the movie Her. They're working overtime where they'll just want, you'll never have to leave the home. There won't be the spread of any once they have the digital version of Cindy Crawford from 1995 pop up, or let's say the version of Linda Evangelista that was in the George Michael Freedom video, or Naomi Campbell. I'll pause 5 seconds for the Trans Apocalypse Army to comment. Okay, now that I know they're all men, which I already know that's what you were going to comment, we can continue with the video. They would want a holographic version of Linda Evangelista with the sweater on from the George Michael video Freedom to, I guess I'm not sure what the hand would feel like in digital form, but they want that. Then your love and sex will be digital, one step closer to merging with it. And once you merge with it, or at least go past a certain point, then you have to cut your own spiritual self off. They can't do it to you. You have to do it to yourself. So that's what this is all about. And anybody, we'll do anybody stumbling upon this video summary, like one guy in Skokie, like, I just listened to this and this guy sounded somewhat intelligent, like he knew what he was talking about, but this was so way out shit. And if I could talk to this guy making this presentation, I would say, are you really suggesting that some system behind the powers that be, something that stands in the shadows here, in some way created this story through this Winklevi Dingleberry guy, and it created this digital, this whole story about these Beeple every days. He puts the crypto art out, but then after doing it for years and years, he's going to sell it, and he's making millions of dollars. And whether this guy's aware of it or not, you're saying this somehow the reality itself is using this guy to degrade a human being down towards the digital, away from its spiritual self. Did I hear that right? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And the confidence level of how sure I am as to what this is very, very high. I guess it would be ignorant for me to say 10 out of 10. But in terms of the overall, I believe I know what's going on here. But in terms of the details, is Mike here, and is it, even in the name, it's in this, if anybody's from Skokie's listening and is like analyzing if I've totally lost my mind, this will put me over the top as to totally, absolutely insane to the person stumbling upon this video. The way the system does business, the people that have analyzed the names and the messages in the name, like Mike wink in some way, but that Mike might not even be aware of it. That's what's so evil genius about it. But even I wouldn't put all my roulette chips on this number. Like, I know in the name is wink, so it's the system winking at you that this is some scam. I'm not saying that, and I wouldn't put all my chips on that roulette number, but I'm saying you can kind of smell that might be the case, and that's kind of how it does business. I know that sounds absolutely insane. Study it for 10 years, and then see if it sounds as insane after looking at the dark reality for 10 years. Thanks for listening, guys.